Welcome back. This is part 9 of our Galactic history. I'm Lance White with Andrew Bartzis.
How you doing?
And we just left off talking about 911 as a multidimensional event.
Multidimensional time war event.
So that brings up the question, with all these timeline wars that occurred 50 plus million years ago that we've been talking about throughout this whole series, how many, just for re-clarification, how many timelines currently exist, and are they able?
One timeline, but our Earth has 3 timelines as its basic setup.
Okay.
The central graduation timeline was camouflaged. There were over 300,000 timelines. The above timeline had no choice but to absorb some of the 300,000, and the below timeline had no choice but to absorb some of the 300,000. And then it just kept creating more and more and more until finally it was overloaded, and it comes to the audit date. And in June 2011, they figured out how to unravel everything and figure out what is the central timeline. And once they did that, they were able to eliminate all the excess timelines except the above and below.
So they were able to do that without major trauma.
Correct.
Other than 911, which was
necessary to happen.
It was necessary to happen. And as we talked about, that was created from higher levels than the beyond light and dark.
It was
as a consciousness.
9/11 was created by the dark entities,
right?
And when they showed that hand, all the light entities had an infinite time to react because they're in time wars. So the event happens and everything reacts to it and does timeline travels to change it.
Right.
But what ultimately manifested is whoever had the royal flush got it to win, but at the price of winning took everything else out.
Right. So that's what collapsed all of those. And so that was really it served a much higher purpose in the long run. In the short run, the players that are still managing this universe,
they got their kegger party afterwards.
Yeah. And then, in fact, I heard one person said that I interviewed said that that Bush had flown into some kind of jet location, and when he got off, all the bankers and everything were all cheering and had champagne glasses, and that was aired like on television. And once, probably. I'm sure the person who aired that will never be speaking. Right. May you rest in peace. So now we're back to a normal timeline, and as far as the dark control goes, what it appears to be is that they're ramping up. But in
I'll give you their strategy.
Okay. Let's hear it.
You have 15 multidimensional beings with all their pieces parts. Okay. Each one is a master hive controller of all the avatars. Each avatar has a mission in the system to maintain control for their faction. You have, how do I put this? These 15 versus 5,280 exterior species, with a species that has amnesia and held hostage in between. So whatever they choose to move is not about us. It's about countering the influences of the groups coming in.
Right.
So
they have us already.
They have us already.
They've had us for a long time.
Yeah. We're one of their aces.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So the moves that they do, dimensionally wise, are to counter the influencing of the positive forces here.
Okay.
The positive forces are trying to enter dream times, trying to get you to have positive dreams about galactic communication, free will, sovereignty, healing. They're encouraging those things, the good things that don't violate your free will when they're trying to give you the gift. The dark entities, how do I put this, will manipulate the ones the light entities are trying to fix. So it's a chess game with them, and at times they will put some players on a self-destructive path. So the good guys will come out and try to stop it, which will invest a whole group into here. Example like Syria. Why won't America invest into Syria? Well, the Russians are there, their drug money's there, their slavery money's there, their black market money is there. They put all their eggs in that basket. That's a factions basket that got exposed on media. And why won't America help it? Because that would help a rebellion that wasn't started by any of the factions. but ultimately got took over by the factions because the media began to promote it as a war because it had no choice. Example, the Green Revolution in Iran. It did more to create new consciousness in the world than it did to free its people.
How so?
Because it was it was something that wasn't in the graphs and charts that they predicted.
Okay.
It was a natural human event that occurred at the youth level to the adult level in a dominated and controlled area. So the system's controllers there simply never saw it coming, ever.
So that's the blind spot that can be that neither side, none of the players are truly aware of. Maybe Prime Creator.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or just the consciousness going through the waves.
Right.
I mean, in the 60s, you rejected some. In the 70s, rejected. 80s, we rejected some of their controls frequently, and movements occurred. But the technology was to take over movements really fast. That's a lot of what their technology was about.
Yeah, right. To take over
domination and control.
Right. Domination and control. So that's
they learned from the 60s because the marches there weren't supposed. We could have been free in the 60s.
Right. And how did they wrap that one up? It seems like they brought in methamphetamine and cocaine and all kinds of heroin, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And then prescription medicines.
Yes, yes. Oh, so as part of the shift,
and jails.
Yes, the jail system.
They went from almost no one in a jail to like 12 million in jail.
Yes, and private jails. And then, of course, you have the jails without rendition.
Yep.
That are being built faster than, you can say Jackrabbit. And then you've got that whole thing about the super soldiers and everything else and targeted individuals. So
correct.
And probably a lot more that we're not even...
Well, I've put together a number of super soldiers, put the Humpty Dumpty back together. And there's an actual system that would put this, is the warranty unit for anyone that's in the domination and control industry. They put a warranty on you, and if you break down, they'll fix you within that warranty. And if you don't break down by the end of the warranty, they kick you to the curb so they don't service you anymore. And that all runs through the Israeli programming units.
Huh.
Which are where all 15 factions come together to share super soldier resources because they do take time to make them that way.
Run that by me again.
Okay. It's on.
Check.
Oh, no, it's on now. It was on.
So the 15 get together in Israel.
There's buildings in Israel that are ancient technology. They're part of the control room functions that influence the grids of Earth.
Okay.
So they bring entities there, which are super soldiers in training, and they mass mind program them so then they can be put into timelines and ripped out of timelines, and so they can still be in control because it's very detrimental to the soul to be ripped out of a timeline.
I would think.
And then when the type of mind control and domination that they do on them is very predictable of how many pieces parts you'll break into in sub-personalities, and then they'll program the certain personalities to have reactions or disreactions or preventative wake-up reactions, and all this is inserted into the person and then given a warranty.
A warranty?
An actual warranty.
Wow. Wow. And so what happens if they break down?
If they break down, the warranting agent, the programmers, will fix whatever that broke down.
Oh, okay.
And they're responsible for all the money and energy for it.
Right, because this isn't a cheap event.
Correct.
These things actually cost energy, money,
correct.
Whatever, the trade and technology and the rest of it. Or they can also kick you to the curb.
And that's what's happening and why all these super soldiers are coming out. Bill Brockbrader, classic example.
Yeah.
His warranty broke down while he was still in service, talking about Tomahawk missile double strikes in the 1990s. Okay?
And he's still in jail.
He's in jail now on trumped-up charges.
On trumped-up charges, and in fact,
he was given the shaft.
He was given the shaft, and that they have also been exerting mind control and using chemicals and the rest of it on him as well. So,
well, they're not mind controlling him like that because he's integrated into the timeline, and if they take him out, the timeline falls apart for them. He's part of their predictive modeling because they've predicted him in the future.
So it's guaranteed that he has to be alive.
Yes.
But so they can't...
And mind controlled in a free-willed state.
Ah, interesting.
But he's got programming he has to defeat on his own.
Wow. Now, how many of these people are that you are aware of are being held that have stepped out of line?
I mean, I can list a name: Duncan Affinian, Miranda Affinian, Dave Corso, Casbolt, all of those guys that are on the super soldier thing. Their warranty broke down and they were kicked to the curb. And eventually they put themselves back enough together and got angry enough and went on air and talked about it.
So really what's important is when somebody starts to awaken to what's been going on and what's happened to them, it's important to not to repress the anger and do all the love and forgiveness thing right away. It's important to get your information out there.
Right.
Because otherwise no one else knows about it.
Exactly.
And we're all operating on a blind.
Exactly.
You know, like with white canes, because we have amnesia and we're not really connected that well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is part of the coming out process that you're talking about, that there will be information that will hit that will just be like waves of information, and about every level.
Every level.
Every level.
But the thing is, how do these waves I liken it to a hurricane. Okay? The both sides predict an incoming hurricane. And one model says it'll hit Florida, and another model says it'll hit New York. And then you have 200,000 other people all making their own models saying it's right. No one knows.
Okay.
No one knows.
Okay, so that's kind of like HARP and weather control. The Fukushima event, obviously.
Yes. At the same time, the event is already done.
Right. And no one can mess with the timeline to alter it now. So now it seems as if each hand is going to have to be really, well, they're kind of stymied.
It's the highest dimensions chess move, final chess move.
Right, because it's played through all the repetitious games that can be played at every level.
Correct.
Right up to the final hand.
Right.
Okay.
But at the final hand is going to be not the way I described 9/11, where everything comes together to try to counteract it. It'll be like that, but on a Dreamtime level. The last powers of the sacred geometry cities that control our Dreamtime will battle against the unity consciousness Dreamtime together, and the disunity dream reality will fail, and its energy will be absorbed by the dream reality. Thus, the controllers have lost all their power. But we are the ones that have to pick up the pieces and understand what that all means, share the user manual to the human skin suit, begin to train healers, allow our galactic brothers in, still deal with Dreamtime, and still understand the fact that there's a planetary sentience that's waking up underneath our feet and wants to talk to us. Then we have neighbors in our solar system that are going to be knocking on the door for asking for a cup of sugar.
And from underneath the hollow earth and the various dimensions. Okay. And that will all happen
on a soul family level.
Okay.
That will be the separation of densities, and that will be how these migrations work.
And that will occur also on Dreamtime, but also in 3D time as well.
3D time will end.
Okay.
Eventually.
Well,
it'll sputter along.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
With stopwatch here, the stops here and there.
So, is it fair to say that things will begin to get very strange for a while because
yes.
you will be
there will be other timeouts.
Oh, okay.
But timeouts in a different way.
How so?
Let's think of the way an American football game works.
Okay.
You're down to 3 minutes. The game's tied. You know there's a 2-minute warning coming.
Right.
And you both got 3 timeouts left.
Right.
That means in American football time, that could go an hour and 25 minutes easily.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we're at now.
Okay.
So the forces of dark realize that they've already lost, and are going to do whatever they can do to save their own butts to not be in the choice of galactic recyclement. They're going to check their own ego there some way, shape, or form. The ones that don't care will run the program to the end and be removed.
Right.
The light forces that are in zealot nature and are battling the other ones that are in ego will also have sets of timeouts and will be given choices to figure out what they're going to do.
Because they're also out of control.
Out of control in a contractual form.
Yeah.
Then the people like us that are like me or like you that are just here to be a part of resistance for the Earth and we don't care about their political propagandas are going to exude unity consciousness in a neutral way, and that will outweigh polarity. So there'll be unity consciousness that accepts both polarities but only allows you to perceive it as the neutral when you put it into your cellular memory.
Right.
Then there's light polarity that only going to allowing the light beliefs, and the dark polarity only allowing the dark beliefs. So all three of those will have to figure out how to work together.
Right. Right. And whatever is unable to work into the new equation, yeah, they're gone.
They're gone.
And we don't have to worry about any kind
We'll
of...
be in control of the control rooms, raise the density and vibration of the planet, and those entities that can't go through the incremental increasing of energy on the grid won't be able to live here.
Right.
And that includes some of the galactic brothers and sisters that are here right now.
Yeah.
They literally won't be able to live here because they haven't raised their vibration, and not enough of us have left to help them in their graduation process.
So once we graduate, though we'll be able to assist
by exchanging soul codes.
Okay.
So it finishes their process on their world.
But that's done from a multidimensional level, and then their dream time.
There will be us that physically go there, and the physical meeting will create healing that will spread inside that culture. And as that meeting spreads, they will have complete soul codes, and then they begin their ascension process. Or if they've already done it and are just missing the last piece and stuck, they get their party.
Okay, and then we have our own soul codes to complete.
Yep.
What you call the vaccination, which has to do with not carrying a virus
out
from our realm, which has been implanted in us, into other galaxies and killing trillions of people.
Which has happened many times.
Which has happened many times. And that has to do with the piracy of genetics and soul codes and the rest of it.
And certain DNA-based virus lineages from low vibration worlds turned into weapons.
Right. So humans, like a human bomb.
Correct.
So when we see...
Plague carriers.
Plague carriers. Right. So yes, that would be a very tricky thing to do. I can see with that.
There were actually versions of us that were made to be that. And they're hidden amongst the DNA.
Well,
that was an actual thing that was built in. So if another race was a light race was going to invade here with physical troops on the ground and reconquer the local realities and bring them back up, they would have to deal with the fact that no matter how you scan the DNA, 1 out of every 1,000 was a plague carrier.
Was that one of the reasons for inventing HIV and AIDS?
No, that was to eliminate specific soul family members, actually.
Okay, which ones?
Anyone that's in a high-powered, high-energy soul family status. Like, you have enough relations to other people that the disease will look for people that has a large volume of soul family that was missed by the detection system.
Oh. Well, I must have a huge soul family because I've had HIV for 31 years and I'm still alive.
You're still alive.
I've had AIDS for 8 or 9, but debilitating.
You're still alive.
And I'm healthier than I've ever been. So, that breaks a few rules right there,
You healed yourself.
Well, technically, I still have to use the pharmaceuticals.
Right.
So, but there will be a point at which that will just dissolve. That the illusion, that part of the
illusion will dissolve.
Yes, and so that everything that we perceive as part of the holographic reality that's controlling us is really an illusion in the sense that it's been created to. It's like the Matrix, in other words, is what I'm trying to say. We're plugged into the Matrix.
We are plugged into the Matrix, yes.
And then some of us are working in the underground
and some of us are working in the underground of the underground.
Of the underground, right. And there might be...
Because even the underground is an illusion at times.
Oh, right.
Because the underground is still hollow earth.
Still duality and polarity.
Right.
So, because there can't be an under and over.
There you get it now.
There only is.
There only is.
Right. So this has already happened, and
But because it's already happened, it still has to finish.
Right,
because
and
all the timeline wars means it has to finish.
And we still have to sit here and go through the motions of talking and carrying on this conversation as if we've never done it before.
Yes, but at the same time, it's our free will to stop it. See, that's the crazy part about being a free-willed planet.
Oh, okay. You mean to stop the conversation, or to stop?
To stop the event.
Oh. Now the event is not something we want to stop, is it? Hell no.
The sleep people want to stop it, though, because they're in domination and control.
Yeah,
Not aware of their
right.
tacit consent being taken.
Right, and so you have a huge...
Manifesting, co-creating beings. We can manifest our own destruction or our own healing.
right.
And some will manifest personal destruction in their own dream world until they're ready to come out. And there'll be those of us who parachute into these worlds and try to heal them and lure them out. And that a big portion of our society, that will be their job.
Yeah, yeah.
And many of the controllers will have to use their skills for good to help people out of that. That will be their restitution.
Right. That makes perfect sense.
Because they understand what put them in there, and they can understand what gets
them out the fastest. So it would be logical to get those people that have, yeah, exactly. So that would entail the use of all the control rooms.
Correct. Which would raise the vibration of Earth and the grid, and you'd be able to see the grid on the line and in the sky.
Right. So we'll be looking. Some of us will be looking, and we'll all of a sudden see things that weren't there before. Correct. And you mentioned the Aurora Borealis and the
North Pole. That's where the Dreamtime societies live. Okay.
Now they're there now, right?
They've always been there.
Okay. Those are the indigenous and the
ancestral family lineage homes.
Okay. All 72.
Well, there's more. There's 2,200 separate soul families.
Okay.
2,300 separate alien races that have all come here
to
input their DNA.
Oh, okay. And they're all basically stuck as well until we graduate. Or not?
No, not everyone is stuck.
Okay.
Certain parts of their migration patterns are stuck because other parts have their soul codes, which doesn't complete the soul codes of another soul family.
Okay.
So
it's all interrelated.
It's all interrelated.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So, in other words, it's the butterfly effect.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Huh.
Things that make you go, huh?
Yeah, things that make you go, huh, in the night. Okay. Well, it looks like we're reaching the end of our...
Another multi-dimensional 25-minute second.
And I was just going to ask you about the Nazca lines and some of these other things and the historical... anyway, we will get into those topics that we were dreaming up when we return for part 11.
Okay.
I believe. Yes, that's right.
Part 11.
Okay. All right, break time.